So in today's video, let me introduce you to my new high voltage power supply. So this power supply consists of 8 microwave oven transformers and 16 microwave oven capacitors. It is powered with two-phase mains voltage, so around 400 volts. And this is by far the most lethal and most dangerous and of course most stupid thing I've ever created. And the only reason I've made this transformer is because here in Czech Republic you cannot find many nice high voltage transformers. In America they often use these pole pix transformers that supply power to a few houses, and they of course create low voltage for the house wirings. Here in Czech Republic we usually have just a single huge transformer like 400 kVA or 800 kVA for the whole village or for a small city, and these transformers often weigh like a few tons. Well, and I needed something which would be quite more portable than many hundreds of kilograms or tons. So the transformer actually consists of 8 of these microwave oven transformers and 16 of these microwave oven capacitors. So I have the schematic right here, and there are basically 2 branches of microwave oven transformers. Each branch is actually 4 of them in parallel, and this one capacitor bank over here is actually these 16 capacitors connected 8 in parallel, and another set of 8 in parallel, and then those connected in series, for a total capacitance of around 3.6 microfarad and a voltage capability of around 4.2 kilovolt AC. Now my voltage supply is 400 volt AC. It is the voltage between 2 phases here in Europe. We have 230 volts as our mains voltage, and between 2 phases it's 400 volts. And I think this is the best way to power these microwave oven transformers without them overheating every 5 seconds, because these transformers are made very cheaply. They are made so that they have very small cross-sectional area, they have large leakage inductance, and they can saturate at almost mains voltage. So they are running very close to saturation, and they are drawing just a crazy amount of current. So these are quite inefficient and very cheap. So if we use 400 volts and we connect 2 in series, so assuming we have the same inductance of the primary, we will get 200 volts here and another 200 volts here. So This way they cannot saturate and they consume much less power, and therefore they do not overheat so much. Right now I'm only using 2 in parallel. I disconnected these 2, so the transformer only consists of 4 microwave oven transformers, but still 16 capacitors. And the reason for this is that I only have 16 amp breakers in here, and at 8 microwave oven transformers the inrush current is so high that I cannot even cold start the transformer, and with 6 microwave oven transformers the breakers trip after like 2 seconds of operation. So I found that with 4 MOTs is ideal for a 16 amp breaker. And now let's try to measure the primary current. So the peak current I've measured is roughly 42 amps, and the voltage is of course still 400 volts, although due to the resistances of the circuit and the house wiring, it may drop under this heavy load. And of course the power is 400 volts times 42 amps, which is 16,800. And now not watts, but volt amperes, because this is the apparent power. And if we want to calculate the real power that is being consumed, we would need a cosine of phi times 42 amps times 400 volts. Now, the cosine of phi is here because the current and the voltage, they are phase shifted. So this is the voltage and this is roughly the current. So I can see they are phase shifted. So the real power is actually much less than this calculated value. So let's try to calculate it somehow. So we can calculate phi as arctangent of 2 pi times the frequency times the inductance over the resistance. Now the frequency here in Europe is 50 Hertz. That's the main frequency. Now the resistances of these circuits and house wiring, let's say it's about 10 ohms. That's quite reasonable number. Now what about the inductance? Now that's going to be quite a bit more complicated. Let's try to calculate it. Let's not measure it. Let's try to calculate it. Let's try to make a rough estimate. We can calculate the inductance as mu0, which is Henry per meter. That's the permeability of the core times the number of windings on the primary, which is of course like this, and the area times the area of the iron core, which is of course meters squared, and divided by the length of the winding, which is in meters. Now let's try to estimate the inductance. So the microwave oven transformer permeability, the iron core permeability is around 6.05 times 10 to the minus 6 Henry per meter. The number of windings on the primary is roughly 100 on these microwave oven transformers. Now the area. For the area, I brought this microwave oven transformer without the secondary in place, so we can see the cross-section much better. Let's actually measure it. So cross-sectional area is about 3.5 centimeters times roughly 7.5 centimeters. So this is around 3.5 centimeters times 7.5 centimeters. Now the length of the coil. Now this is going to be way harder to calculate, so let's just make a very rough estimate. As you can see, the shape of the primary coil, I don't know if you can see it well, the shape of the primary coil, it's not a circle, it's not a rectangle, is this kind of rounded rectangle. But let's just approximate it as being fully rectangular. So I've measured this side to be 4.5 centimeter and this side to be 11 centimeters. So the length of the wire will be 11 centimeter plus 4.5 plus 11 plus 4.5, which is of course 2 times 4.5 centimeters plus 11 centimeters, and we have about 100 windings, so we have to times it by 100. Now if you plug these values into our formula over here, we get that the inductance is roughly 0.5 Henry. Now this is of course just for a single transformer, but let's see, we have 4 of them, 2 in series, so 1 Henry here and another 1 Henry here. This is 1 Henry. Now if we connect them in parallel, which they are, we are back to 0.5 Henry. So we can go with this value for inductance and plug it over here. Now if we make this calculation, we will get that the phi is roughly equal to 85 degrees. Now if we plug this into equation here, we get that the real power is actually only about 1.3 kilowatts. So that's not actually that much. But of course this is just the RMS value. If you want to calculate the peak value, we have to times it by the square root of 2. So this will be over 20 kilowatts, 20 kilovolt amperes. And 1.3 kilowatts times the square root of 2, that's roughly 1.8 kilowatts at peak. And this is 16,800 times the square root of 2. That's 23.75 kilovolt amperes. That's the peak apparent and a peak real power. And now let's try to calculate, or you know what, let's try to measure the current on the secondary. So during a short circuit, the secondary current was about 6 amperes, and during the arc it was about 4 to 5.5 amperes. So this is the primary current. And of course our oscilloscope reading, that was quite a bit unfortunate. The EMI caused by the arc makes the sine wave almost unreadable. But we can kind of resemble a sine wave, and on this shot it is 200 millivolts per division measured on a 0.1 ohm resistor, which means it is roughly 2 amps per division. So those peaks are up to 8 amps. And this insanely lethal current is of course at the 4.2 kilovolts roughly voltage on the secondary side. So this is extremely dangerous, and it should go without saying that you should never do this unless you are very sure of what are you doing. If you want to play with high voltage and you are new to the topic, never use these microwave oven transformers. These things are just crazy lethal. Now if you want to play with high voltage a bit safer way, use an auto ignition coil. This thing can generate well over 50 kilovolts. So of course at much lower currents, so use this. Or if you want to stick to 50 Hertz mains voltage, you can use a neon sine transformer like this one. So this one creates over 6 kilovolts but roughly 30 milliamps. And if you get zapped by the ignition coil, pretty much nothing will happen. You will get shocked, and yeah, that's basically it. But if you get zapped by a neon sine transformer, well, it's actually, I wouldn't say it is lethal. I think in most cases you will survive, because the output current is really quite limited by the large inductance of the secondary coil, and you will most likely survive even 6.6 kilovolts. The voltage will drop when you short circuit this transformer to save values. And of course, even the mains voltage, 230 volts, still not as lethal as one of these microwave oven transformers, let alone 4 of them, or let alone 8 of them. So yeah, if you want to play with high voltage, you should avoid these transformers, because if you get zapped by this transformer, then no amount of luck will bring you back to life. This is just the end. This can provide very high voltage at very high current, and there is nothing to stop the very high current flowing. And of course, when playing with high voltages, you also need to keep some distance from all the wires, as the voltage can jump from one electrode to another, and this distance that the voltage can jump and create an arc is around 10 kilovolts per centimeter. So with an output voltage of 4 kilovolts created by 2 MOTs in series, that's not even 1 centimeter, but still you have to keep in mind that you don't even have to touch the wire to get electrocuted. And of course, if you are playing with even higher voltage values, like let's say 300 kilovolts, then 30 centimeter distance is the least. Actually, if you are playing with like 300 kilovolts, stay at least a few meters away from your high voltage contraption. And if I ever get my hands on like 32 amp or 64 amp breaker, I will plug all the 8 microwave oven transformers, maybe even these transformers over here. I got many more of them. I got at least 20 of them, so I can plug in all of them. But of course I would need a breaker for that, and right now I only have a 16 amp, which is nothing. And thank you for watching this video, and always be safe around high voltage. See you next time.